7 p.m. We'll call our September 10th, 2024 regular council meeting to order. I, at this time, would personally like to welcome Councillor Edwards back. She's been absent for some time, and welcome back.
Thank you.
Notation of councillors in attendance.
Yes.
Thank you. The approval of agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Brownlow. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Drake. Any questions on the agenda? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest this evening with our councillors? Hearing none, we're okay there. So we'll call on our delegate. She will come forth. We have Kelsey Kuhn, Regional Consultant for Sport, Recreation, Branch, Tourism, Heritage and Culture. And I thank Councillor Downey for bringing you to our attention.
Thank you.
So we'll let you do whatever you do here.
Great. Thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to give you a little background about who I am first. Be 2 minutes tops. My name is Kelsey Kuhn. I live in Heartland. I am the regional consultant for the Sport Recreation branch for Tourism, Heritage and Culture. I have a little bit of background. Well, my background is sport and recreation, and then I left there and I was a physical activity consultant for the province for a number of years. And then I left that and I went to working NB or pedal. So did a lot of employment counseling, job search, worked with employers, that kind of thing. So, and worked a little bit with the RSC, so the Regional Service Commissions, 11 and 12, and now I'm back in this role again. My husband retired, and he was in this role, so I decided I wanted my old job back again and to have some fun. So I still am able to work with the RSCs, but at a different capacity, because recreation is much more fun for me. So I want to thank Rachel too for inviting me as well, so I appreciate it. So I just want to kind of give you a background of what our department does and what my role is and how I may be able to support you in the future, okay? And at any time, if you have any questions, by all means, just stop me and ask me, and I'll try to get through this as quickly and as painless as possible, because I know you're very busy.
Don't worry about the time. Take whatever time you need.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I am a regional consultant for basically the Western Valley and the Capital Region. So we've kind of restructured the way we do our work within the regions. So we have 2 regions now to cover, so each regional consultant, and I'll show you the map. So I focus on any groups that are in the RSC 11 as well as in the RSC 12, so Western Valley and Capital Region. So, forgive me, I'm going to follow my notes. So, the Sport and Recreation branch, the objective is to increase sport participation, increase recreation, and increase physical activity or active living for communities. Because we want New Brunswick to have a good quality of life, so we want people to be active. And recognizing that we can't do it all on our own, we need to have those partners and to help support each other to go through this. So we do have a network of regional offices that support delivery of community-based sport, recreation, and physical activity programs and services. So here's the map. So in that, so the region, the colors of it are like, so 1 and 2 has a regional consultant, 3 and 4 has a regional consultant. It's all across the province of New Brunswick. And then we do have provincial consultants that really focus on the provincial sport organizations or recreation organizations or, Canada Games, those kinds of things. So that's just kind of the makeup of where we are. So I just wanted to kind of touch base a little bit about our strategic goals. And, partnerships are very important to us, and understanding the communities and what their needs are helps to drive the work that we do and help support the groups that we work with. So we want to help build and strengthen and develop supportive physical and social communities or social environments that will encourage participation in all, gamuts of life. So in the sport world, the recreation world, and the physical activity world. We also work towards, because if you don't have that strong physical activity, community buy-in, then you're not going to get the people in your community. So we're trying to kind of help support those needs of those communities, and especially with the amalgamations that happen. There's huge higher needs now because rural communities have kind of combined, and we're trying to make sure that the entities are still, they still are recognized as their own entity, but they also are working together as a group. So with this rural community, it's like a greater rural community, because I think you take in like Burt's Corner, Keswick, Douglas, not Nackwick or Millville, but close to that, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I did a little bit of homework. I did go on your website to see where everybody was. So I know that there's 7 wards, right?
Yep.
So every person here is, every councillor is representing a ward, which is a separate little rural community, correct?
And there could be communities, several in those wards.
Right, yes, because they're very small, right? So you have Burt's Corner, and I'm thinking like Millville, not Millville, but Burt's Corner. Yes.
Even Douglas, Keswick is part of Ward 6.
Right. Okay. So we want to work with the communities to assist them with the accessibility and inclusion for all the people within their communities. So, it's quite a task you guys have, and we want to be able to help support some of that stuff. So basically, I'm here to talk a little bit about what our regional funding is all about. So we have funding from various grant programs that has not changed. When I started back in 1998 with government, they basically had all these grant programs, and they have not changed. So we provide training clinics and workshops for volunteer leaders. We initiate new and innovative programming. We promote activities and events, establish standard administrative policies and procedures. So we help support those. So when communities are trying to do any of that stuff, we have funding to help support some of that stuff that you want to do. So for example, if you were a new club starting up, then we come in and we help with the board governance and registering as a nonprofit organization and getting funding to provide sport, recreation, and physical activity in that perspective. So we usually work with nonprofit organizations and other groups as well. So we work with municipalities, sport organizations, First Nations, regional service commissions, recreation organization, and multi-sport organizations. So we don't really work a lot with private entities. However, we do try to partner those private entities with nonprofit organizations so that they can provide new and innovative ideas or activities or initiatives within the community. Another example of that would be, we do not give directly to the schools, but we do work with the schools. So we try to connect the municipality or a local club, try to get them into the schools to deliver some much needed sport, recreation, and physical activity programs. So it's just kind of a roundabout way to help support. So it's not a direct link to the school, but we do have very strong partnerships with the schools. And I can kind of give you some ideas of what are some of the programs. Once I get into the funding, the actual funding programs, I'll give you some examples of what are some of the things that we do support. Am I talking too fast? No? Any questions so far? No? Okay, the fun stuff, funding. So we do have regional grants. So we have a regional profile grant and regional project grant. So those are kind of like that was our bread and butter when we first started way back in the day. And what that is just, it's providing support, financial support to organizations that want to deliver sport or recreation into their communities or reach, newcomers that might come in, or persons with a disability, that kind of thing. So these regional profile grants, they're more directed around the leadership development, organizational development, athlete development, those kinds of things. So for example, in the Western Valley, we have all the recreation directors meet on a monthly basis. So we have a Western Valley Rec Association. They are members of that group, and so we can apply for grants through that Western Valley Rec Association to do regional profile, to do board development, to do strategic planning, to deliver regional programs on a whole, rather than each community trying to do the same thing. So we kind of do it as a group. So the training, for example, in one community, you may only need one person trained, but in another community, you might need two people. So we can do a combined grant where we can host everybody in your rural community under one grant, rather than every single little board applying for something. So that's the kind of things that we look at doing. GoNB is a bilateral agreement with the feds. So they gave funding back when, I'm trying to think when we started getting that funding, and it had something to do with, I believe, the Canada Games. So because we want to increase participation in all the sports that are represented with Canada Games or the Olympics or whatever, if there's a provincial sport organization, then we are trying to help support that group to increase their athlete development and their leader coaches development, official development, to help support their sport to get stronger and grow bigger. So eventually, we hope that we will be able to give them enough support so that they can get those Canada Game athletes or high performance athletes or elite athletes. So it's a stepping stone. We need to have that community recreation program start so that we can step up into the more elite programming. So the GoNB is around leadership development. So it's actually coaches training. So we get, for example, curling club can come to me and ask for, they want to get some coaches trained to deliver their Little Rocks program. So we will provide support for that training. Officiating, so if we have a volleyball group and you have coaches but you need officials, we will help support the training for the officials. You want to jump into the school and offer like an after-school program for multi-sports, so it could be volleyball, basketball, gymnastics, whatever. We would provide support to do just that, like to help bring in those groups or coaches to develop the kids, to teach them the fundamental movement skills. So, because that's kind of lacking right now in the school system, so we try to help for that. Active Community Grant Program this is my favorite one because it's around physical activity, and it focuses on, there's the sky's the limit for, as far as I'm concerned. We look at persons with a disability, we focus on newcomers, we focus on children and youth, the older population, the aging population, because we all know that we are an aging population and that we need to still provide that kind of activity for the older population as well. So for example, we have the Northside Seniors Yoga Program, or Northside Yoga Program, I can't remember the name. Anyways, they came to me and they asked for some funding so that they could take it, it's almost like a traveling roadshow. So they travel to the communities to deliver a seniors yoga program so that the seniors they don't have to leave their facility to go somewhere else. It's right in their own little community, and it could be in a facility like this, or it could be in they have the senior complexes sometimes where you can go in there. I want to be able to get into the nursing homes a little bit more, get people trained. We do have great LPNs that do that as an activity programmer, but they don't have the supports that they need in order to deliver additional programs. So those are the kinds of things that we look at for active community grants. The other thing that is really a great initiative is our Active Kids, it's our Go Girls Festival and our Active Boys Festival. So we go into in the Western Valley, the municipalities go into the grade 8s, all the grade 8s in Anglophone West, and they give them 5 or 6 sports to do in one day, and they do like a rotation around. We bring in coaches from all different sports, so it could be archery, it could be lacrosse, it could be flag football, it could be yoga, strength training, it could be mindfulness, it's all around the mental health as well. So we bring people in to do a one-day event for the grade 8 girls, and then we do it also for the grade 8 boys. So every grade 8 in the Anglophone District West, Anglophone West District, receive this one-day event, and it's usually in May. And that has been going on for so many years. The schools are a great partner for us to do that. They provide half the busing while the Western Valley pays the other half of the busing. So there is a great partnership there as well. So these are kind of some of the ideas that we do. We really focus on thinking outside the box, and Rachel and I have had a few conversations about, what can we do with other, like if we have a soccer field, what are some other things we can do on that? And there's lots of different things that can happen, right down to having like a 55 plus senior game, or 55 plus, we call them friendship games in the Western Valley because we don't want to call them senior games or older adults or whatever, right?
I participated in those.
And they're fun, aren't they?
They are.
So there's one coming up September 17th, just so you know. So these are some of the things that, we really like to help foster or build that relationship with you guys. And, if you have ideas or people that are looking for different ideas, that's where we can come in and sit down and really brainstorm some different things that can happen and how we can, or how our department can help support and foster and build that as you maneuver through that. So the Inclusive Community Recreation Infrastructure Fund, that is for infrastructure. So that is for facilities. It's more for, it can't be privately owned, but it's more for the nonprofit groups that have like a community center, and say you have stairs and you want to have like older adults come and participate in like weekly seniors club and do all these different activities, but they can't get up the stairs. So we help support funding to get a chairlift. That's one example. Or doors that push the button and they're the automatic doors. So it has to be a facility that is promoting recreation and sport. It's not meant to go to a church and, unless of course that's the place where they're doing the programs, but it's not meant to just be like for that, okay? So I don't know if I explained that very well or not, but we have specific targets or underrepresented groups that we really like to focus on. That's the aging population. We're targeting female, like children and youth and females. We're targeting newcomers, we're targeting persons with a disability, but we also are not targeting any other population, so able-bodied or men or women that are able to participate. So we do try to open the doors for new ways to get people to participate that don't necessarily participate on a regular basis. So, but any of these grants, everything is done online, and we have a system. It's called Smart Simple. We are just new to it, so what I do is I suggest people contact me, pitch their idea, and then I can help direct them in the right grant application process rather than wasting your time. Because we've had, I had one group apply for 4 grants and did the same grant for all 4, same request for all 4 grants because they didn't know where to go. So they had to do it 4 times. So I just had a conversation with them and said, well, how about this? Like, what's your idea? And the more I talked to them, the more came out. So they were really focusing on sport development and increasing the skills for children and youth, and doing some additional work with adults and older adults, but none of that was mentioned in the grant, so I can only assess what I see. So that's why I like to have people have a conversation with me first, so that I can help foster that a little bit and build that up a little bit, so. Any questions on the grant programs? So as I mentioned, so the grant programs is usually basically the carrot to get us in, but we do a lot more than that. So we do have like we provide information for administrative policies, we help with project planning, we work with governance, like board governance, event planning we help with. I was just, I just volunteered for the Western Valley Pro Kids Balcon Youth Golf Charity in Aroostook, and they raised over $20,000, $10,000 for Pro Kids and $10,000 for their golf program for youth. So there's lots of things that we do help with, and certainly like if you have a big event, then I like to come and take part and participate and help out if I'm available. We do help with incorporation, so new groups that are looking at getting incorporated. So we have Crab Mountain is looking at starting a snowboard club, so I'm going to work with him and trying to get that up off the ground and incorporated, and then we'll move that out to the other regions, and then eventually get a provincial sport organization, because snowboarding is in Canada Games and in the Olympics, so we want to be able to support that. And of course, we're always promoting the benefits of sport, recreation, and physical activity in everything that we do. So, and also, how many have heard of the Regional Development Corporation? Okay, so they do have funding, and we do work with them closely. So if I can't get funding for you, I usually say contact your Regional Development Corporation. They may be able to provide some support for that, because they have money for infrastructure, they have community investment fund, they have community development fund, and they have the there's one more, Trails and Infrastructure Fund. So I'm not really familiar with that one yet, because I'm just starting to get my feet wet with the RDC. But I'm really good at the community investment fund, so that's usually where I direct the groups if they're looking at increasing major equipment or major infrastructure. So I kind of get them to do that, and then I come in and help them with other smaller pieces of the funding. So for example, we have a group, Lakeville Community, that is looking at developing their waterfront, and they are looking at they want to do a kayak and canoe rental. We can provide funding for some of that, but they have to have a program attached to it. So if they wanted to do like a kayak program where people learn how to kayak, learn the safety, we help bring people in, we'll connect them to bring people in, they'll get them trained, and then afterwards what they do with their equipment is entirely up to them. So if we were to give them one kayak to do that, and they were able to access additional kayaks from RDC, then, that's a good way to start a program. And it's like, could be a weekend where, come try this kayaking and learn how to be safe, and what's right, what's wrong, how do you kayak, how do you get in and out properly, what if you roll, and so those kinds of things. So we do help with that. But every single grant that is applied through to our department has to have a program attached to it. We can provide equipment as long as there's a program, okay? We do, and with the Regional Development Corporation, we do a lot of partnerships with them. So when they get a big request, if it has anything to do with recreation or sport or physical activity, they will contact our department, and we work with them very closely to make sure that the clients are getting the support that they need, or if they're missing pieces, where is the gap and what can we do to help them maneuver through that piece. And I'm going to say this, as much as, a lot of people hate strategic planning and work plans and action plans and all that stuff, that was one of the major things I did prior to leaving here and going with Working NB. So I still love doing strategic planning, although most of my colleagues don't like doing it, but I still have a hand in it. So I did read that you guys hired Stiletto.
Yes.
So with Working NB, I hired them as well, and they did some strategic planning for the regional service. No, sorry, it was for our employment or economic development piece. So they were fantastic, and they really got down to, and they really understood our business. So those are the things that I kind of like doing too, but I just dabble in it like on the recreation and sports side. So one of the big things that we're focusing on right now is our recreation infrastructure planning tool. Have any of you heard of that? I didn't either until I came back in January. So it's a tool for regional planning of facilities. So it's a collection of all the facility data across the province of New Brunswick. So every arena, every ball field, every soccer field, every swimming pool, I believe it's trails as well. So what they're doing is they're asking municipalities to go in and complete this data. So we have like a current place that we can go. If somebody wants to start planning something, they can go in and see, okay, is there a need? What's the usage? How many times is it used in a small rural community? So for example, when Heartland built they're just finishing up their new facility. I'm not sure if they looked at this recreation infrastructure tool, but it wasn't really pushed a whole lot. But it would have been a great idea to look at that to see, what could be used, what is in the smaller rural areas that might benefit them, what is in the smaller areas, or what are they considering to put in their new community complex that really probably wouldn't have any uptake on it. So this recreation planning tool is probably going to be something that the government will look at when municipalities are looking at increasing their infrastructure in their communities. So it's just to kind of have a look and see what's there, and is there a need, and how can we work together better with that. So we're just starting to collect that data.
Right at the moment, the Capital Service Commission has, well, I shouldn't say the moment, but the past few months, they've hired Gemtech to do recreational inventory.
Oh, perfect.
And that's well into the making, so.
Perfect.
And
that's the RC 11, yeah.
Yeah, well, the Capital Service Commission.
Oh, yes.
They've renamed all the numbers.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get used to that because I'm just getting a pen. Excuse the pen.
See, we're familiar with the service commissions because there's a mayor is a director of
Yes.
all municipalities that sits on the service commissions.
Yeah. And you will probably see us again with my boss Marcel Richard, because we're going to all the RSCs to pitch what we have and what can we do to work better based on the mandate around recreation and physical activity.
No, I just want to highlight
Yeah.
that
Who's the RSC person, Capital Region person?
CEO,
Yeah,
John Smith.
it is John Smith, okay, yeah.
And we've been dealing with Gemtech for the last year or so on recreational infrastructure facilities.
Perfect, yeah, because I did send him, I think, a message, an email, just asking a little bit, so, and I know it's really busy because they're just getting organized too, right, with all the different things being thrown at them as well, so that's great to know. I hope that all the other RSCs are doing the same thing, but I doubt it. But yeah, so this is great because eventually what we'd like to do is go to the RSCs, have that meeting, and then filter it down with all the mayors sitting around the table, and then whatever municipality wants us to come and do a little bit more, then we can come and do a little bit more of a spiel. We're just doing a little bit, we're starting from the bottom up, which is great, because this is kind of like testing a little bit of our presentation, so. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm open to having that. And if you wanna move further with brainstorming, I'd be happy to come and meet separately with other people or whatever.
We'll have 2 rounds of question or comment or whatever you have, and we'll, in case somebody forgot something on the first round, so we'll start with you, Councillor Downey. Do you have questions or comments for Council?
Well, I was glad to have you here. I've been looking forward to this. Yeah, I guess my comments are, I have a couple of specific ideas around the arena and around the soccer field that I would like to put something together
Okay.
eventually.
So is that something that would come to this group? So you wanna have a meeting with me sometime and just
I,
brainstorm different ideas and,
yeah, I would be, that's what I'm excited about. That would be the comment.
One point, I guess, to the arena is we don't have a girls' ringette.
you don't have a sorry what?
A girls' ringette at
Oh.
the Piscine Valley Arena.
Okay,
If they play ringette, they have to go to the city.
okay.
Hockey as well.
Or hockey.
Oh. For girls?
For girls.
Oh, so you wanna focus on girls' sport in like ice,
One of the issues
Ice
is
surfaces, yeah.
to get coaches and people to look after this. And they used to have ringette in Birch Corner, and it faded because I think they didn't have the people and the interest to keep it going.
okay,
I think time, ice time might be one large factor too.
okay. So there's no coaches here either, like,
Not to our knowledge for
Okay.
ringette, or
for either, okay,
there's not enough girls for a girls' hockey team in Central York, is what I understand.
okay,
So the few we have, they have to go to the city and join a city team.
okay,
Or play co-ed.
or play coach.
Yeah.
Okay,
So did you get more on that? Or?
That's the direction I, have, really would like to go to start with.
so I can reach out to the Region 3, hockey, the ROC, and ask them if they have any, thoughts on developing the girls' hockey in the outlying areas, and have that conversation with them for sure, so I can do that. And I mean, not to stop there, but I mean, that's a starting point anyways, to
Yes.
see what their plan is, because they do get funding to develop women, girls and women's hockey. So if they're getting funding for that, maybe it's nice for me to know that, okay, you're not reaching some of the outside areas, so why is that? We don't wanna strictly leave it just for, Fredericton.
So just for an example, if a girl, for instance, wants to play hockey, they have to go to the city because there's no program here, and they're hit with an $886 user fee from the city. Could that be funded?
We can't, but that's a good point, because where it's amalgamated now, I'm wondering, why are the user fees still intact?
I guess you would have to take that up with our neighboring municipality.
I'm not afraid to ask the question, so, okay,
And you know which municipality it is?
I do,
Okay.
Yeah.
I do. I'll ask the question, I have no problem with that at all,
Okay.
That'd be great.
yeah.
That would be great.
Councillor Brownlow?
I just want to thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you.
It was a really good presentation, and like Councillor Downing brought to everyone's attention, it will be good to work together going forward to see what
Yes,
we can benefit with the community, so
thank you.
thanks.
And you
Councilor
go
Brewer?
for it, ask them that question about funding.
I will, I will,
Yeah, because I have a niece that's really up in there to hockey and,
Yeah.
she has to find sponsors and everything, so.
Deputy Mayor Forbes?
I have a question around, you said there's a lot of funding for facilities. How far does that stretch?
okay, so with RDC, now I shouldn't speak too much about it, but I'll give you the knowledge that I know. So with RDC, if you put in a grant, or if you put in an application and say you want to do something worth $100,000. They will make you pay, say, cover 60%, and they'll give 40%, or something like that. The other option they have is now you can go through, you could do it in 3 phases or 4 phases, and then you could go right directly to your MLA, which is the Community Investment Fund, which is also through RDC, but I always tell people to go to their MLA as well to talk about it. And if you kind of highlight your phases and you highlight $7,500, they'll give you the $7,500 if they have it in their budget. You put the application into the CIF fund, but the MLA has the final decision on where they want to spend their money,
So
basically.
we're spread over 2 MLA regions.
Oh, that is perfect.
Budgets.
That's perfect. So who is your MLA here for
Ryan
this?
Collins and Minister Ames.
Okay, so, yeah, Minister Ames knows our department and he sends them to me, and then I just keep sending them back. So that's when I have the conversation with RDC, and then RDC and I work it out. So usually, I try to get them to spend their money first. But that's basically where it is. Now, if you ask for money, if it was 70, say you ask for 8,000, they will make you pay 60%, or, yeah, 60%, and they'll only give you 40. So never ask for anything more above $7,500. But, I know, it's,
So never ask for anything more?
if you wanted if you wanted the Community Investment Fund.
But we can't if there's a project for 100,000.
If you can ask, as long as you have means to get your portion,
Right.
by all means ask for whatever you can. Yeah. And if you want RBC to come and do a presentation, they will come and do one as well. If you ever want that.
Further?
Did I answer your question, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That was kind of where my mind was heading also on infrastructure
Yeah.
and development of facilities.
I mean, you certainly, like, I'm able to meet with you guys if you have questions or you wanna kinda brainstorm what are some of those facilities, like I have that knowledge that I can help you with that. And then I can help you find the right path to get that funding.
It's great to know.
Also assist with the development of coaches,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Very good.
certainly do that.
Further?
No,
Councilor Ennis?
Yeah, to echo what Jared and Ken were talking about in terms of infrastructure, some of our challenges here involve things like lighting for the softball
Mhm.
fields and funding to be able to establish dugouts, maintenance and care, redoing even soccer pitches because they become so uneven and almost dangerous. And our community groups do a fantastic job, I think, at trying to fundraise, but there's so many competing interests out there for the dollars within the community that it gets to be a challenge
Yeah.
to be able to get that done effectively, and so we end up with equipment that becomes faulty and no longer works, and yet it's hard to replace.
So RDC does look at doing that. So I do know that in Tama, they receive funding for ball field lights through RDC. So there is a way to get that stuff.
We're in need of those right at this moment. Well, it's done for the season, but we
Okay.
had no ball field lights this past year.
Okay.
They deteriorated and we need them.
Okay, I do have, do you know Alexis
Yes,
Hutchins?
I do.
So her and I do meet, usually every 4 to 6 weeks. Just talk about what are some of the shared, what have I heard and what has she heard, and I just bring things to her attention, so I'll definitely bring that to her
So for
attention.
the other councilors' benefit, she's from RDC.
Yes, sorry, she is RBC.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor English?
Good collaboration.
Thank you.
So is there anything we missed? Does anyone wanna, another question or?
I do have my cards here.
Okay.
Make sure they're mine and not Kent's. So, I know. We had the same job, we've kept it in our family for 25 years.
So do you do more work in the Western Valley than you do
Well,
new in the Capital Service Commission?
yes, right now, but I'm trying to get into the capital region a little bit more. So, when I left back in 2011, I was strictly Western Valley. It's just been the past just before COVID, or just around COVID, is when the capital region got shifted over to Kent, who was doing the Western Valley region. So, and then COVID, right, like that kind of ruined everybody for a bit. So it's hard to get your foot back in the door once you lose all those connections.
If you could find us avenues, you're more than welcome here.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I would love to come and work out of Fredericton, but I don't have an office in Fredericton. So what I try to do is make meetings and meet with a couple of groups once a week. Then they can, I'll meet at Tim Hortons or anywhere with these groups, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get here at least once a week, if not twice, depending on the meeting.
The reason I asked that question, because I heard a lot of your,
My examples are Western Valley, yes.
yeah.
There is some examples from the Fredericton region as well that I can give you, but I would have to do, like, there's lacrosse in Harvey, and there's lacrosse in this area, there's cricket, the Northside Yoga, those kinds of things. But Western Valley is a rural community, like they're very, very small, they don't have a big city that they're competing with or anything like that, so.
That can be good and that can be.
It can be good and it can be bad, exactly. But definitely, like we can mirror some stuff like that's happening there, and it is happening here, it's just I'm not familiar with a lot of the stuff yet.
So I've had a comment from Ignite, you're familiar with Ignite.
Yes.
A lot of newcomers like cricket,
Mm-hmm.
European football, which
Yeah.
I don't even know exactly what it is.
Is that soccer?
That's what I
Yes.
thought,
It's
but-
soccer, yes.
Lacrosse.
Yeah,
So, and the arenas are vacant in the summer,
mm-hmm,
but you have to have flooring.
yes,
So is that something that can be done?
Through
To fit the
RDC.
newcomers
Yeah.
in the arena,
yep,
could we apply for flooring
through RDC,
for
yes,
those programs in
Yeah.
the arena?
through RDC, Regional
Okay.
Development Corporation now.
Because I think that's something we probably should look into in the near future, because like I say, the arena's empty in the summer.
Mhm.
And if we could utilize that, and we could fit the newcomers, because they like, a bit of different sport than what the regular Canadian or New Brunswick
Mhm.
likes, so.
It's a good space for a summer youth program too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But even if that flooring, like if it's, I don't know what it's worth, I mean, if it's worth 200, 300,000, there's funding for that if we can fit the other half.
there should be, yeah, I can't speak for RDC, but that's the route I would go, is ask them what they can provide support for. And I know our department is currently meeting with them, to try to because sometimes I didn't know that they would provide support for, say, soccer nets. And it's the big steel ones, it's like not the portable ones or anything, it's the stationary ones, that kind of thing. Or they could be portable depending on the cost. We don't provide funding for that, but we would consider helping provide a portion of it, to a group. But RDC is like, well, no, we'll do that. So now we're trying to where's the fine line? What is RDC gonna support? And if they've got the funding, let them do that and let us focus on the leadership development, coaches development, and organizational development. So we're trying to get that ironed out a little bit, but as you know, it takes a while to wade through the water and get a clear path and who's doing what, and
We're beginning to learn.
yeah, I am too, again.
Chelsea, I find it interesting that you use the example of kayaking. We actually, as a rural community, established 2 boat launches for non-motorized craft
Oh, good.
this summer, and part of our goal is to see more use of the natural waterways around here, so your comment about kayaks kind of sticks with me somehow.
Well, I can't take all the credit. Rachel did give me a quick little spiel on some of the infrastructure that's here and what you just acquired, so that's why I purposely did
Kind of wondered.
that. We're tag teaming. So,
We had a really great conversation one night.
yeah, so, but yes, I would definitely help with that. Like, there's a benefit for that, and I mean, we have beautiful waterways here, and people aren't using them, like, you know, even in, I look, like, I'm from Heartland, and they've kiboshed the boat launch thing, like, you know, why, I don't know, but, they're saying for safety reasons, but whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We have a beautiful river, even though it's not, you know, people don't really swim in it, but some do. It's to each his own, right? So,
Well, and to me, it's surprising how something that really didn't cost very much, at least I don't think it did. You go by there and there's regularly vehicles in there.
Yeah.
Day after day.
Yeah.
And it's great to see.
yeah. Well, and you know, that's one thing that happened with COVID. People started doing some more individual activities, right? Because they couldn't do the sports, so they turned to kayaking, skiing, trail walking, all those things, snowshoeing that you can do as an individual. And I think it's fantastic if we can kind of increase the waterways and the usage of it. So we used to do kayak clinics all the time upriver, so there's no reason why we couldn't think of something here for that as well.
Nice.
And RDC will, if you don't have a building to store your kayaks, RDC looks at providing support for that part, where we look at providing support for the actual.
I apologize, I just have to throw in that
Sorry.
under our lease agreements, we're not allowed to conduct any business or putting up any structures, anything like that.
Oh,
So it's very limited what we can do, this is public access only, like there's no training, renting kayaks or canoes or anything along that line.
oh,
Just so you know.
But it doesn't mean that there couldn't be a rental site off.
Well, you can rent them in Fredericton, but you have to have,
But here, we could not have a rental site like up the road somewhere.
well, it would be up to somebody else to do, but I'm saying you can't rent them at that location, so.
Okay, any further questions? If not, I'd like to thank you very much, Kelsey. It's been very informative.
Thank you.
I hope we can move forward and we can do some
yeah.
magical work for us.
Well, hopefully you reach out to me anytime. I'm gonna be honest, I'm only gonna be here for 2 years and I'm gonna retire, so get what you can.
You spent a lot of money in 2 years.
Yeah, I will, oh, trust me, I will. I love spending government money.
You're certainly welcome to stay if you desire.
Oh, no, that's okay, I gotta drive back to Heartland, so
Okay.
but I do appreciate it. Am I on stop sharing now? Yeah,
What's that for?
I just hit stop sharing.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I was actually nervous.
Watch your cord.
Yes,
So drive careful.
I will, thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Watch for the critters.
Oh, yes. Oh, watch me unplug everything.
So we need a motion for approval of the previous meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
That's a move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Forbes, seconded by Councilor Brownell. Any question on the previous meeting minutes? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any? Motion carried. Business arising from the previous meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Do we have any? Yes.
For the, under 13, new business from the previous meeting minutes, any movement on any of those, A, B, C, or D?
I don't believe there's anything on A. B, I don't think so at this date. Request for funding for help with the cost of user fees to the city of Fredericton for the girls' hockey. I just had a conversation today with their CAO. It was not a lengthy conversation, but we we had pitched a proposal. They're thinking about it, but I'm really not at liberty to say any more than that right now because it may never come to, to being, so. I just want you to know that yes, there's been some chat, and he's gonna call again next week and see what his team thinks. Then, once we get that, we'll bring it back to council here. See if council has any entertainment on it, or if it's a bad idea, a good idea, or whatever, so. But we are trying to get relief for the girls' hockey team, which would include Ringette also.
Are we still bringing in, the treasurer and the chair for? No? Okay.
It's gonna be a private meeting.
Oh, okay.
For the first step, council will certainly be involved after we get some information
Okay.
from them. Crime prevention. Sergeant Luzon, I think, he's on slate for next council meeting.
I haven't made the request yet, but I will.
Yeah, but it's, if he can, he's to be here next council meeting, so.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question for number 7. All of these 6 names submitted, have all of these people been notified for their presence at the Central York Day?
No, I didn't know that they were approved.
Okay.
Are they approved?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I was out for almost the last 2 weeks, so it's true. I have no idea.
We'd have to approve the council, right?
Well, I'm just, not in an open meeting, but just let me know that they're okay moving forward.
Okay. We don't need to disclose names, right?
No.
Can we make a motion
You
in,
don't even have to make a motion.
Since they all already
No
been
motion.
accepted.
No motion
6
necessary.
names submitted and all accepted.
yes, so have they been, are they aware that we need their presence?
No, I didn't know they were approved.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we, in the email discussion, we approved. I think we just, I think it was consensus.
So I can move forward with that.
I would say.
So can they be notified then before, for the presence before the 21st?
Potentially. Of course. Yes.
Okay, okay.
I have to read the plaques and all that stuff.
Correspondence, we have none this evening. Committee reports. There's no committee report, there will only be one next council meeting, other than if there's something from Stiletto, right? And that won't be at that meeting. We won't have a committee report from Stiletto at the next council. And the reason there's no committee updates is because we had the summer break. There's been no committee since June, and we've already had that update and meeting approval. Okay. The treasury report, that will happen next council meeting for the month of August. So we'll move on to the chief administrative officer's report.
Thank you. Sorry it was so brief, but it's essentially all about the upcoming Central York Day. The planning and preparations are well on their way for our Central York celebration on September 21st, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. There'll be a large tent on the field at Keswick Valley Memorial School, which will house the exhibition and entertainment. We're having Robbie Brewer back this year, as well as a new guest, Ralph Hamilton. The exhibition guidelines and entry forms have been posted on our Facebook page. The Lions Club parking lot will host the food vendors. I've been advised that there will be many choices for the attendees. Because the Valley Arena will host the Touch a Truck event in the parking lot, and there will be multiple vehicles, and we'll have cake.
Like that.
The rest will hopefully be a surprise.
Do I have a motion to accept our CAO's report?
So,
Moved by Councillor Ennis. Do I have a seconder?
I do.
Seconded by Councillor Brewer. Any question on the CAO report? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. So we'll move on to my report, the mayor report. I've had only one meeting other than the usual emails of government and municipal officials. The one meeting was at the Capital Region Service Commission Board on September the 5th. The CRSC budget for 2025 was presented to the board by our finance committee to get approval to send this to the Minister of Local Government in each of the 13 municipalities that make up the Capital Region Service Commission. The vote was in majority approval with one vote against. Personally, I think this is a great budget for 2025 as every municipality is paying less than last year to the Service Commission for their services. Central York will be paying $14,500 less than last year for the overall services, due in part to more funding contributions from the province and second-year surplus. Although planning will cost $18,200 more this year for Central York, the rate drops from 3.62 cents to 3.57 cents. The reason for the higher cost, as you can see from the rate decrease, is based solely on the assessment increases over the past year. A very impressive budget. I was surprised one municipality voted against it. The budget still needs to be voted on for final approval in October with the 21 vote method, and 51% of the population be put into action. The same voting method as was with the Aquatic Center in June. So move my mayor report. We have a second. Second by Councillor Edwards. Any question on my report? Yes.
You didn't directly mention the aquatic center other than the last sentence, but I wonder if there's any update on where that stands now. I know there was a lot of discussion in the spring around it.
Well, it was defeated. You're aware of that, right?
I knew that, but I wondered if there was-
Regionally, locally, and sub-regionally, it was defeated in all.
So it's dead.
Well, it's the city's aquatic center. If they want to
Okay.
move forward, then it's their choice at this moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. So we'll move into new business. I had one I'd like to bring forth to council. I've heard some comments that we have too many meetings, and I don't think that I disagree with that. We do have a lot of meetings. So in thinking of that, I'm wondering what this committee thinks of the committee of a whole in front of the council meetings at either 6 or 6:30, depending on the time we need in front of each council meeting. And I don't think we need a vote on this tonight. I think it needs thought about. We'd have to change the bylaw anyway, correct? So, do you people agree we have too many meetings?
I haven't found it to be onerous, but I know some weeks I'm out 3 or 4 nights a week.
I find the same.
Consolidating it would be good, I think.
So if we went to the 2 meetings and put our committee meeting in front of the council meetings, we're good with that. They're also open to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had some fairly short, council meetings that would be nice to either front end that with a committee meeting and then the short council meeting, and then it saves an entire night having to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so we'll leave that with thought for tonight, and we'll obviously have to put it in process and vote on moving it, so. If that's the choice you come up with after you thought about it, so.
Be less driving in the winter too. Although I have supper.
But we are on tap for Stiletto a week from tonight.
Yeah.
That's cut and dry, they will be here. Do you have anything to add to that, or?
I'm meeting with Jenna on Monday, just to kind of go over the training, I guess, on that following Wednesday, so that's about it.
Okay.
And it'll be our normal meeting time with Stiletto.
6:30.
6:30 is committee normal time, yes.
And that's next Tuesday night.
So do we have other new business?
Short little new business updates, the general plan committee met for the first time last week. Had a short little meeting, we started working our way through a comprehensive plan for emergency measures within our community. It's gonna be a long process, and it's quite beefy. We are meeting again on the September 30th at 9 AM here, if it's available. Other than that, we're just starting to work our way through the whole process. It's gonna take a while. From there, we're gonna start teaching everyone some action items. But those have not been brought up as of yet.
Okay.
Just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that, where we're at.
And your committee is pretty much filled out, you've got.
No, we're gonna be certainly seeking more folks to join up.
Okay.
The annual coordinator is kind of leading that charge with my assistants. There'll be more developed on that. Get some people that are actually willing to put in some time.
Okay,
That's it.
good, thank you. Any other new business? Yes, Councilor.
I'd like to update Mayor and Council on the radon testing that I explored there last spring through Take Action on Radon. What I have learned is that 1 in 4 deaths, cancer deaths in New Brunswick is related to lung cancer. And we have an opportunity as a community to acquire 100 free radon test kits. If you were to go out and buy them locally, they'd be about $50 a piece. So we have the opportunity to get 100 of them free. I also, through conversation, learned that we can get another 50 at a discounted rate, $20 or $25. And I see that as a great opportunity for our community. So Take Action on Radon has I put an application in, they have accepted our application. If we go forward with it, which I'm recommending that we do, I do have posters I have 5 posters that can go up in community places to make people aware of it. I have about 50 of these little things that can be handed out by counselors. I would do my best to manage the distribution and the collection of the kits. They have to be in the homes for 91 days after distribution. The biggest task ahead of us would be to make our community aware of the initiative, hence the poster behind us. But if we were also able to spread the word through our own Facebook accounts and what have you, I think we can get the word out. I would see it kind of as a first come, first serve in terms of the kits themselves. And I'm going to closely track it so that we can get them all collected and sent back at the end of the program. They have contacted me a few days ago, and they're suggesting November the 14th as a possible community meeting night. That could either be virtual or in person. If it were in person, if that's what we decided would be best, I would approach the district to see if we'd be able to get Keswick Valley Memorial School or Keswick Ridge School, one of the two, as a place where we could have a community meeting. So I know that's a lot of information that I've just given you, but I just want to kind of gauge the interest here and moving forward, if that sounds like a reasonable thing to do.
My initial thought is it probably should be a physical meeting, and probably the school would be a great location for a large amount of people. But you're looking after this and administering that?
With council's blessing, and I would invite council's input in terms of taking some of these to distribute, talking to people in your community, stressing the importance of radon testing.
I have no problem passing some of these things around if that'll help.
The thing that I do want to make clear is for the additional 50 kits, there will be a cost of approximately $20 to $25. So once the first 100 get their kits, there would be an expenditure for the 101st through 150 for those kits, but it's far less than they're going to pay if they were to go and get it through local establishments.
Is that price for like that bundle, or is that per piece?
per piece
That's after 100.
for the remaining 50.
So it'd be nice to have these distributed to the different communities, cause it would make people more aware of this situation, like this radon thing, right? Say so many to Dustin's, so many to mine, Rachel's, distribute them around, because, as I said, it'll make people more aware. Because all of a sudden, if you do the first comes, first served, what if it all goes to one area?
But
Well-
you can administer, if you're looking after the program, you can administer that and get them sent out kind of on an equal basis.
Yeah, because, sorry, you know, like somebody in up in Jones area, because cancer is a big thing in our area, whether we like it or not, so,
Yeah, it's huge.
yeah, it is, so.
I do think it's a way we can assist our community and do something that's gonna help our citizens as well. So we're good on that?
Okay.
I think that would be a more central location.
I also was reflecting on the work that was done in our first newsletter last year, and I think that gained us some very good traction with our public. And I'd personally like to see us put out another one this fall, and if we could do that prior to November the 14th to get some publicity in there as well with the radon program, that would be ideal. I don't know if it would be realistic or not to set the end of October as a possible target date for our next newsletter.
We'd have to ask our administration that.
Yeah, is that, I don't know what your workload looks like, Duncan, or,
Well, it's not really the workload, it's the budget. So we're in budgeting season, but
Okay.
also, like, the first one was $3,000. So, can you do this every quarter for $3,000? So like, you know what I mean? Like, is that the idea from council is to mail these out 4 times a year at $3,000 a pop? That's a lot of money.
So my thought on that might be, and I don't know what everybody else's thought is yes, we paid for the first one, we got it off the ground. If we had one the end of October, could we take those to public locations and let people pick them up and save the mailing cost? Do you remember what the printing cost was?
Oh, well, the printing cost was not that much at all.
So could we take these, could we do this one, take them to public places and let them be distributed from there? Yes.
I mean, even a digital copy of the actual thing to be shared on social media would be pretty cost effective, I believe, like,
Yes.
if you did that, maybe the printouts to hand out that, both of those things and save the mail out.
Mhm.
I think we discussed that when we originally talked about
We
it.
had.
We would do a mass mail out maybe for the first one, and then from there on, we would find other ways of doing it that weren't as expensive, like a social media blast or website, or like say printed but not mailed.
So would that be doable?
Anything's doable, just what council wants to spend.
Okay, so if we don't mail it out, we're probably okay then.
You would be, yes.
Okay. Do you wanna, you good with that, just getting it done, or do you want a motion?
I don't know if a motion is
You don't need a
required.
motion for that.
All right, but I would like to suggest the end of October if we can. I'm happy to help in any way. The last thing that I had, thinking back to Linda Dempsey Nicholson when she presented for the school district regarding a reciprocal agreement for the use of schools. I wouldn't suggest we make any decision tonight, but it's something to think about whether it would be to our advantage to look at having a reciprocal agreement with the school district for use of Keswick Valley for things like municipal day, and that can help to reduce the rental costs. I'm not sure what those are, but even with the radon testing night, for example, there are likely to be some rental costs around that, which might be minimized if we had a reciprocal agreement. So I'm not suggesting we rush into anything, but just moving forward, it might not hurt for us to explore that again to see if it's something that could be a benefit to our community, both in terms of this, but also in terms of recreational activities, should someone come forward and want to do that. Because I think it could impact that as well.
We don't currently have a reciprocal agreement.
reflecting back on what Linda told us at the time, and I think it's pretty much cost neutral. It's just that the district prefers to have those kind of agreements to help when it comes to those fees for use of the facilities.
Okay. You had a question?
I was just gonna say, I remember a lot of the chat was based around like, sports,
Yeah.
and obviously some, like a representative from council or somebody from us would have to be there as a supervisor, I guess, and kind of, but what you're talking about for, community meetings and stuff, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, you good with that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for me.
So, just with that, so if we all decide tonight that we are good on that, is that something that we can move forward on to actually get something in place with the school district?
I have no.
Because I'm good with it.
Thank you.
That will need a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. You want?
Okay, then, I would make a motion that, Central York Rural Community explore and hopefully acquire a reciprocal agreement with Anglophone School District West for the purposes of community meetings and possible recreational usage of Keswick Valley Memorial School and/or Keswick Ridge School.
And I second that.
Okay, motion moved by Councilor Ennis, seconded by Councilor Brownlow. Any further question on the motion? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any? Motion carried. I have been asked to, I guess, to provide an update on the water tanks for the fire department. I'll get Duncan to help me walk through this, so I guess right now where they stand, the woods on the park area has been flattened, it hasn't been stumped, the trees are cut. The groundwork has not been done. I think we have a contractor to do it.
Yes.
Okay, any further on that? And the one on Kingsley, there's not much has to be done there except the groundwork, and I believe the same contractor is doing
Yes.
the groundwork,
Yes.
so that we can get once the groundwork is done and the roadways, so that the tanks can be hauled in and put in and installed, and then we get electrician and the well driller in to fit these tanks. I believe that's where it stands at the moment.
Yes, and each location will require some fill to bring it up level to the road, for obviously entrance and exit reasons, it's really loaded.
Okay.
Realistically, is it likely to occur this fall with,
Yes.
okay,
No, that's the total intention is for them to be done this fall, so.
I think right now it's scheduled with the contractor, but he's got to fit it in with his.
It's the excavation that is not holding anything up, it's just getting that line up. So, but, the well drilling company is already aware, I'm forgetting, kudos to Macquac Park, because they took down all the trees for us, so we just have to take over the stumps, which is huge. You get anything from there? Yeah, I know it'll definitely, like, I don't know why it wouldn't happen this fall, so.
and I know you've no doubt expressed appreciation to whoever it is at Maccapac Park. I'm wondering, would it be suitable to send them a little letter of some kind thanking them on behalf of mayor and council?
I think at the end of the day, I think
Yeah.
it's a little premature yet
Yeah.
until we get it completed.
Yeah,
But they've certainly been a blessing to us.
yeah, that's great,
Very, very nice to work with.
Yes.
good to hear.
Okay, in new business, we have a motion, we need a motion to approve the 2025 Regional Fire Dispatch Agreement with the City of Fredericton for $42,753.42. So could I have a motion for that? Moved by Councilor Downey, do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Second by Councilor Drake. So now we'll open up the question on this. If you have any questions.
It's more of a procedural question. Those of us in the fire service, are we in conflict here at all? Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Is there a change from the 2024 regional fire dispatch
space. The one from obviously last year, or sorry, for this year, we're based on 2023, so there's a slight change.
Any further questions?
And this is for the actual dispatching of the fire department.
Yes.
Just in case anybody didn't know that.
If no other questions, all those in favor of the motion? Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. So we need a motion to move into closed session with a 5-minute recess.
So
Moved by Councilor Ennis,
Second that.
second by Councilor Drake. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, if any, motion carried. So we're back into our regular meeting. I would like to make the motion that we remove our offer for the land acquisition that we made on the last council meeting because of various avenues of added information and concern. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Adams. Any questions on that motion? All those in favor? Contrary minded, if any? Motion carried. So we need a motion on adjournment.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilor Downing,
I'll second.
second by Deputy Mayor Forbes. All those in favor?
Aye.